Generally, how scary a fighting game character looks is in direct proportion to how much ass they can kick. For example, Akuma, strong as hell. Mopey guy covered in ping pong balls, not so much.
Kabam wins.
There are some fighting game characters, however, who, while they might look harmless, can absolutely batter you senseless. Our advice? Exercise caution around these 7 non-intimidating fighting game characters who could kick your ass.
Perfect.
Dinosaurs are pretty intimidating, sure, with their terrible claws and pointy teeth, and several appear in fighting games, like Riptor here from Killer Instinct. But it's hard to find a dinosaur less scary than Barney, the fluffy purple and green T-Rex who teaches kids about imagination and eating healthily and what colours dinosaurs shouldn't be. That is, of course, if you haven't seen the version of Barney from 1995 PC fighting game Xenophage: Alien Bloodsport.
Flambe victory.
The plot of Xenophage is about an alien race kidnapping various species from around the universe and making them fight for their amusement, and it is, to put it kindly, not very good.
Victory.
However, by mucking around in the game's code, players can unlock a playable version of Barney the Dinosaur, known here as Blarney, who at first glance seems a bit rubbish. He only has one attack, firing love hearts at his enemy, and if he gets hit once, he collapses on his face and can't move again for the rest of the round. However, the love heart move is actually pretty powerful, and if you spam enough of them, it's very easy to stun lock your opponent in place, so you can just overwhelm them with your cheap, cheaty tactics.
Perfect.
Not sure what the lesson here is for kids, but it seems important.
No one knows where they came from, or how they came into being. Yet one thing was certain. They were headed for the box.
The only time you should find Pac-Man intimidating is if you are A, a ghost, and B, he has just eaten a power pellet. Otherwise, Pac-Man is extremely non-threatening. He's a circle who eats dots and dies in one hit. Easy. Or at least that's what he might have been thinking as you confidently rocked up to the Street Fighter Cross Tekken tournament, ready to kick Pac-Man's head in. That's when you would have received a rude awakening, however, as Pac-Man has decided to show up to this tournament in a wooden mech suit with big iron balls for fists. Based on Mokujin, the Tekken training dummy come to life, Pac-Man's power suit more than makes up for his lack of fighting prowess, with powerful punches, kicks, and butt stomps. As well as the ability to shoot energy blasts and crushing backflips. Most powerful of all is his super art attack, in which he fires a devastating beam cannon out of the mech's chest directly into his opponent's face. The downside to that, Pac-Man, is that Ken is a ghost now, so you're going to need a power pellet if you want to win the rematch.
Brilliant. She's already making friends. I'm so proud of her.
Tekken fans will no doubt remember Lily, the spoiled oil heiress who bankrupted her father's business by kicking too much ass.
Rochefort Enterprises, a world-famous oil company, has filed for bankruptcy. Industry analysts speculate it is due to the split-up of the Mishima Zaibatsu, a major business partner.
But it's not Lily we're here to talk about, because if you ask us, she definitely looks like she could kick your head in, and does regularly. Lily, however, is usually accompanied by her butler Sebastian, an elderly, frail-looking man who is impeccably dressed in black tie and tails, and who looks like he has strong opinions about blends of tea.
Sebastian, you're too much.
Despite having shown no interest or aptitude for fighting in any of his previous appearances in the series, Sebastian became a playable character in Tekken Tag Tournament 2, where, surprisingly, he wasn't a useless joke character, but basically a carbon copy of Lily. Looks like someone was paying attention during his mistress's training. Not only has Sebastian memorized Lily's moveset, he also remembered moves that she no longer has access to, and has the agility, strength and flexibility to pull them all off, despite looking to be in his 60s or 70s. Even more impressive than that, though, is that he managed to get the time off work to win the tournament without telling Lily what he was doing, because if you beat the game as Sebastian, it becomes clear that he didn't let her know and doesn't want her to find out.
Sebastian.
Oui, mademoiselle.
Félicitations.
Or, maybe pay him better, Lily, so he doesn't have to enter fighting tournaments to make a living wage. Honestly. SNK Gals Fighters was an all-star fighting game for the Neo Geo Pocket Color that featured fighters from across the SNK universe battling in the Queen of Fighters tournament to win a wish-granting talisman. While the roster included various King of Fighters, Art of Fighting and Fatal Fury characters, there were also a few hidden characters, one of whom was Yuki Kushinada, the girlfriend of King of Fighters protagonist Kyo Kusanagi. Yuki is notably not a martial artist, rather she is a regular 18-year-old schoolgirl armed with a briefcase. But before you get too cocky, it is my solemn duty to inform you that Yuki is in fact an absolute beast with that briefcase, using it to batter her opponents, sometimes without even looking. She's also able to shout "No" extremely loudly, which makes the word appear in the air, knocking jumping enemies out of the sky. And she has a couple of super powerful special attacks, including one where she summons an army of clones of her boyfriend to stampede her enemies senseless, and another where she goes ham with the briefcase. No idea what's in there, but if I had to guess, bricks. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is one of the best-selling manga series of all time, and the source material for various rad-as-hell video games, including 2013's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle. All-Star Battle lived up to its name by letting players pick characters from all of the 8 then-current JoJo story arcs and have them do battle to determine who is the best at fighting, and using their stands, entities that they can summon to help them in battle. If you're a casual JoJo fan, however, you might take a look at the character Shigekiyo, a small, stout teenage boy who appears to be bald with a head covered in flesh spikes, and decide to pass, going instead for one of the more conventional fighters with amazing cheekbones and impeccable dress sense. Shigekiyo uses the stand known as Harvest, a swarm of bee-like insect men that in the source material he mostly uses to get people drunk and collect loose change. In the game, however, they're much more useful, forming protective shields, dropping debris onto enemies' heads from above, and swarming opponents and doing horrible things to their necks. Many of Shigekiyo's attacks send Harvest out to attack low, below where most folks will be blocking, and best of all, he's so short himself that regular attacks will just sail right over his head. Real odd job situation over here. So yes, underestimate Shigekiyo at your own risk, lest you get swarmed by tiny bee men who'll punch all your parts in. Right, like that.
We are bound
Battle for survival begins.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes featured some seriously powerful fighters, including Storm and Venom. So when stacked up against that roster of double-hard demigods, it was easy to underestimate new character Amingo, who was a sort of fat cactus man wearing a sombrero. However, despite being a fragile succulent, Amingo is surprisingly handy in a fight. His biggest advantage is that he can change the shape of his body, turning his limbs into drills or, becoming a giant onion. He can also summon thorny vines from the ground and send out little plants to launch his enemies into the sky so that he can, swallow them whole. Infinity War would have been wrapped up a lot quicker if Amingo had been around. Just saying.
Round 1, fight!
The The list of animals that I think I could take in a fight is pretty short, but I'm confident I could handle an earthworm. Unless it somehow got cut in half and became 2 earthworms. Then I might have a problem. Oh, or if the earthworm was in a supersuit, like Earthworm Jim from the 90s platform game of the same name. Earthworm Jim appeared as a secret character in the PC version of Battle Arena Toshinden, a fairly serious 3D fighting game about dedicated martial artists fighting each other with deadly weapons.
Fantastic!
Adios, amigos.
As such, the appearance of an earthworm in a robot suit, wielding what is canonically a club made out of snot, might make you think you're probably going to come out on top in a one-on-one showdown.
Hey, honey.
However, Jim here is a deceptively strong and tough opponent, on account of basically being an exact clone of the character Rungo, only with weirder voice samples. As such, Jim is very competitive with the other characters, and you can easily take him all the way to victory in the tournament, at which point, his ending is as confused as you are as to why Jim is here. Hey, don't have a go at me, game, this was your idea. There you have it, those were some of the least intimidating fighting game stars who, nonetheless, would kick all our asses without breaking a sweat. Any favourites we missed? Let us know in the comments below, and if you like these kind of videos, why not consider joining the OX Supporters Club over at patreon.com/OX Club. We'd love to have you. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Outside Xbox.